Wait, are you saying that about you or us? Because
we get that as well.
Yes. People like to say that about us.
Certainly.
Like one of our favorite complaints was early on. This man tweeted, he was like, "They just talk too much." And we're like, "In a podcast?"
I was like, too many words.
What we're supposed to do.
He's like, I would have rather music. It's like, then turn music on.
wait until you find out how wet water is.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Yeah,
That's some bad
blow
news,
your
buddy.
mind.
That sand dry as fuck. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, but people are gonna love this.
Oh, I'm excited. Everybody's told us we need to hang out with you, so here we are hanging out.
Yes,
I will tell you, I
yeah.
knew very early on, before we even started podcasting, because I listened to your podcast back in like 2019.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
And I
That's
think
awesome.
I just randomly clicked on one day because 2019 was a rough year for me, honestly.
That's why we started it. I couldn't get her out of the house. And
No,
I'm like, if I create a job for you, then maybe you'll get up.
I was in a real
Wow.
depression pit. So I was like, I need
And then
something.
2020 hit, and I bet you just
It was
really
great.
found yourself.
Honestly, it was awesome. It was like, well, I'm not getting out of the house, but also I'm not supposed to.
now I have an excuse. Yeah, for
The shame is
like
gone.
6 months, I was like, this isn't bad. I'm
Yeah.
fine. I honestly didn't want to see a bunch of
Kind
people
of-
anymore.
Kind
If
of
you were
thriving
like
right now.
in a depressive funk on the couch, and you're like, I'm not leaving the house. They're like, oh, because you care about, the pandemic. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
that's why.
exactly what
Certainly.
I'm doing.
I'm very cautious. But it's like, you can also be cautious. But
Yes.
Well, yeah.
But the first episode I listened to that I just randomly clicked on, I can't remember which one. And honestly, again, it might be a fever dream that I had. So correct me if I'm wrong. But somebody was telling a story about shitting in a parking lot.
That was me.
Hey.
I knew it.
That
We
was
do
me.
have a lot in common.
And as soon
yeah.
as I heard that, I was like, these are my people. These
Yeah.
That was episode 13.
Yes.
Yeah, about the Ben McDaniel, the
Cave diving.
cave diving guy.
Oh, I
that
know.
went
That did
missing.
make me spiral. I'm not going to lie to you. That part of it,
Yeah.
I was kind of like spiraling.
Diving
That's
stuff
my
is-
worst fear. But
Diving stuff's crazy. We watched The Deepest Breath the other day, and that was a lot
On
too.
Netflix,
Ocean stuff,
Get
I don't
into
want to
it,
know
man.
about
think we need to
space.
be
I
there
don't want to
anymore.
know about
Space
the
and
deep
ocean,
ocean. Yeah.
they're the same. One's up, one's down.
Yeah.
But yes, I did have an incident in my car in an Albertsons parking lot, and
No
all
judgment
I had
from me.
was
Yeah.
At
an
the
In-N-Out
local
bag
at the
that I had
local.
recently eaten the burgers out of. So it was in and then it was out right into that
just
bag.
like they
and
say.
It was awful. And people, that is my legacy. I've come to terms with it. It doesn't matter what I do in life. That is what I'm going to be known for. And one day my children are going to have the
Such a
blessing
good-
of listening to that story.
Because that was
experiencing it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, been there, mom. The first, when you told it, that was the first time I'd ever heard it. So
Yeah.
my reaction was genuine because I was like, I can't believe you're saying this. And that's why I said, just tell me and you. Nobody else will hear
Yeah.
it.
Nobody's
Also,
listening right now.
Nobody's listening.
Episode 13. That was very early
It was
on.
like the first one, yeah.
So,
Yes.
Yeah. Now, more people have heard it than I thought would.
A little, a few.
I
Just to
will
remember-
say that that's probably one of our biggest legacies as well. We've told many pooping ourselves stories, and
Nice.
we've got things hung up in our bathroom that listeners gave us that are like, it's been blank days since Jeri and Ciara shit themselves.
I saw one of y'all's TikToks where I think it was you, Ciara, was talking about like farting during sex or something.
Yes.
And that one was really fun. And I was like, hard related.
Yeah, right,
Who
accurate.
hasn't been there?
The one, dude, I have a very distinct memory of hooking up with this guy. It was Thanksgiving. Like
Love
I
that.
was
Thanks.
done with my family and left, and he was like, "Hey, you want?" It was like a booty call, and I was like, "Okay." And then I was like, "The challenge of this is
Oh, you had Thanksgiving feasts.
my
And then went
dogs."
to
I
go
was
fuck.
face down, ass up, like just being like, "God, Jesus, take the wheel." It was.
Caught
It
you
worked
feeling
out.
grateful.
You were
It worked out.
playing with fire.
I was playing with fire, both in the relationship and internally, but it worked out. It worked out. Would not recommend.
No.
Because I was like, I'll be right back. I have to go to the bathroom
You-
because it's
feast
gravity.
Or
I turned and it was,
famine, Heather, not feast or fuck.
no, feast or fuck. Feast then fuck. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, you can't.
Absolutely not.
No, you can't.
I'll
Oh,
tell
well,
you,
I'm-
I got my vindication like 15 years after my first incident. The restaurant that my high school boyfriend and I went to before homecoming just shut down recently. They just closed.
That it
and
made you
okay.
hate
and I
yourself?
was like,
I shit my pants.
because I went to homecoming and shit myself before the dance started.
Yeah.
And I didn't go home. And I didn't tell anybody. I just emptied it. And then I
I
just,
know.
I did my
I know.
best. Everyone's like, didn't you throw them away? No, because I was convinced that they
Somebody
were going
would
to run
find
like
it.
a DNA test
Yeah,
and
they
find
can
out
find
that
it.
was my
They're
underwear.
going to track you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like hold it up at the dance like it was a car key that they had found.
They're like,
yeah.
who has the blue floral?
You get crowns.
Shut up, they were
but for
homecoming
something
queen.
much
Or they
blue,
do.
we're blue.
They're like, we're gonna crown the homecoming king, the homecoming queen. We have a third announcement. The owner of these, please. Or we called in the CSI team. We know who this
they're
is.
here.
Jerry,
We know
please
it's
come to
you.
the front. Jerry.
God,
You're like,
it's mortifying.
And you're
What
like,
was
why
the
do you guys have a
restaurant?
crown?
What kind of food was it? Was it Mexican?
Nope.
Italian.
Italian. That was
Oh,
my
yeah,
guess.
that was gonna be
Something
my next
heavy,
guess.
cheesy.
Yes.
Yeah.
My
Lot of
boy,
carbs.
he was like
carby.
my boyfriend we had been dating for 3 days at the time. Okay.
Wow.
And he
New
drove
love.
me to the top of the city, this really big hill where you can see all the lights. And he takes me up there, and I'm like, very good. I have to pee. Please turn this car around. And so he takes me to the speedway, and I sprint in and just in that toilet, blow it up, do my best work. I think I'm in the clear.
Yeah.
And then I go back into
As
the
you
car.
do. It
Yeah.
always tricks you. You're like,
Yeah,
great,
you're like,
I'm-
oh, we're good.
I am golden. But
There's
you just
always
opened
like a
up the
straggler.
floodgates.
This
Yeah,
does feel like a
that's the
true crime
thing.
story, honestly. It's like losing crime to humanity. But I said, let's just drive. Don't take me back up that hill. I swear to God, I can't do hills right now. Just take me to the school, and then we'll wait for the doors to open. And we were sitting in the car, and a friend of mine was coming up to the door. Perfect timing, because as I rolled down the window, some escaped me, and it smelled horrible.
Oh no.
And she was like, "What does that smell?" And I go, "I think it's outside. I just only started smelling it like when I opened the window."
You're like,
That's
the
gross.
smell came when the window rolled down, right? So it must be
Yeah.
outside.
That's
Gosh.
weird.
Somebody should check the sewage at the school.
Did you get busted? Did
And
they
I
fit-
said, "Oh my God, I have to pee again." And he's like, "Again?" I go, "I had so much water at dinner."
He said, you haven't had a drop today. You're like, don't fucking judge me. You don't know me.
I've been monitoring
dated
your
3
water
days.
intake.
Yeah, you're not
I've been
due for
drinking
another
water.
pee for 20 minutes.
Gaslight me.
I walk in the building, and there's like 2 options to get to the bathroom. You can walk down this really long hallway, or you have to go up a set of stairs, across, then down the set of stairs. Well, that was my only option because the doors were closed and locked, and I'm just standing there holding them like, oh my God, oh my God. So I walk up the stairs, and my ass is clenched so
Like a
hard.
diamond. It's making a
And
diamond.
the way that I'm walking, my feet are barely moving. I was like a Barbie.
Like
Before
you're,
Barbie.
yeah, you have a
Yes.
full corset
Jerry, are
on.
you shimmering? You're shimmying? Yes, I'm shimmying. This is
Say,
everybody
please
does it
don't
now.
talk to me. Please
Shimmy.
don't look at me. Please don't
Yeah.
get too close.
No.
And then
Nobody
I'm also
start a
shimmering because
convo.
I am sweating.
Yes,
so
I'm
Yeah.
drenched in sweat. Yes, I'm shimmering and shimmying. Both.
I could literally see the bathroom door when my
Oh.
body just started evacuating everything
It
inside
said
of it.
no.
And I was like, oh my God.
Did you have on like hose, like
Nope.
pantyhose?
Nope.
Did you have? Was it a short skirt, short dress?
Knee length. Knee
Okay.
length.
did I wear that dress later?
You did.
I did. I got the shit hand-me-down dress.
As you always did.
I
growing
did.
You're
up.
like, hey, this is a hand-me-down dress. It kind of smells. And Jerry's like, the smell's coming from the outside. I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
know.
know.
And then having to
That's
do with the
weird.
dress.
The
You have
sewage
to
in the
have your
schools,
own
I've been telling you.
Yeah.
We got to blow the whistle on this.
I didn't even go
Damn.
home till the next day. I stayed at a friend's house.
Oh,
Wow.
what a night.
But could it be smelled during
Yes.
the dance?
Sure could. Sure could.
He's like, Mambo number 5.
100%.
away.
Wow. Did he ever comment
what the
on
fuck
it?
smells? What is that?
Did he comment on it?
No, but I did catch him sniffing himself.
Oh,
So it was like an
fuck.
accidental gaslight. I didn't tell him that it was
Damn.
him, but
But he thought it, and I wasn't going to correct him.
Yeah, no.
You just stand next to him like,
the amount
But
of
if you-
confidence on my face, you'd never know it was me.
I
was just
am
like, what
so
are you talking
impressed that you were able to maintain for an entire homecoming.
if I'm not mistaken, Jerry, did you not win best bullshitter in high school?
I did.
She
I
did.
Well,
She did.
Best shitter
And there's a
and best
reason.
And
bullshitter.
I
Shitter
forged
and
those
bullshitter.
votes,
See?
which means I earned it even more.
Yes. Officially earned best
I,
yeah.
to this day, feel like I was robbed of funniest or
Oh, yeah.
most talented. So If I could go back, I'd forge some votes.
Yeah, sure. That's brilliant.
I deserved it, and it was a sham that I didn't.
I got funniest, and the funniest guy dressed up in a 3-piece 80s suit with like a ruffled thing, and I forgot we were taking pictures. So I had a t-shirt and a hoodie on, and I was like, I guess we got to go take these pictures. And he goes, "That's hilarious that you dress so bad," and I'm in a suit, and I was like, "Yeah, that's why I wore it. It wasn't just the clothes I wear." I was like, "It's great.
That's me. I'm so funny. That's what I do."
Call me Chuckles.
Funniest and saddest.
The tears of the clown. Oh man. Well, welcome to the show. We've already been going on a tangent for 10 minutes, but in case anybody does not know who we're talking to, it is Jeri and Ciara from the wonderful Ladies and Tangents. You've probably seen them on TikTok. Hopefully you've heard them on your podcast. They're the best friends that you think like, I wish I could have these best friends. But when you're in our ears, you feel like you are our best friends for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was
We already
so-
feel like we're friends.
Yeah, already.
Yes.
It was just like divine intervention, I guess, kind of a horrible, wonderful coincidence that when we created the podcast in October of 2019, that was our first episode.
Mm-hmm.
We created the name Ladies and Tangents because I want people to know that we're women who are speaking and that we cannot stay on topic. And if those are two things that you don't like, do not listen here.
No.
There's the door.
Find your way out.
And
Yes.
the point, they're like, Ciara said, what do you want our focus to be? Like, do you want to do true crime? Do you want to do history? Do you want to do comedy? And I said, I don't want to do
Any
of it.
and
I want to
also
do
all of it.
all of it.
Yeah.
And so
Whatever
I
I want.
I just want people to feel like they can have friendship without having to leave their house. And
I
then
love that.
people physically weren't allowed to
Community.
leave their house
Yeah.
in 2020.
Yeah,
So
you
we were like, take a
did you
little bit of
manifest the
responsibility for
pandemic? Is that what you're saying?
Might have accidentally done that.
So Jerry's a witch. You guys, Jerry's a witch. We learned.
Well, so Ciara and I are cousins, and we
Yes.
are born 9 days apart.
Wow.
And we were told by one of our late aunts that
We are
apparently there is
witchery
in our family.
brewing in here.
Nice.
kinda
I
cool.
like to fancy myself a witch.
Christy does.
So
I
we
think
can all
that's
be
very
witches
powerful.
together.
Well,
Same.
I heard that there's a coven. And
Yes,
we'd
you're
like to
getting
be
in
a
the
part
coven.
of it.
We will
Yeah,
add
you're
you to
coming in
it
the coven.
Heck yeah.
post haste.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Post haste.
I love that though, that you're like,
back.
we got to bring back post haste. There's a lot of words we're also trying to bring back. We're sprung is one of them.
Yeah, I'm
I love
trying to
Sprung.
bring back a bunch of like
The memo. I'm talking about the memo. a lot.
90s to early 2000s slang.
She's
Into
like,
it, trying to bring back.
Showed up and we didn't know, like we kind of were red and black, and she's like, "Oh, we kind of match." I was like, "I guess you got the memo." I was like, "We're doing memos again.
We're doing
We're bringing
memos.
back. We're bringing back
I
memos."
love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Well, and that's what I love about you saying that you want to say outright, we are ladies and we're going on tangents. If you don't like it, leave. I love that concept with content creation because I think the space gets kind of crowded and there's a lot of people trying to do different things. And there's something to be said about saying, it's okay if you don't like this. There's other stuff. You can go away. This is what we're doing.
There's
Yes.
millions of podcasts.
There's a million people you can look at. And what I
Yes.
think you get from that is what you all have had, which is great success because you knew kind of from the beginning, we want to do what we want to do, which is still something to do.
Right.
And then people have been really attracted to that. So how was it to like, I know you started in 2019, you kind of popped off on TikTok. What was like, do you remember the video that was the first one that went viral? And what was like your reaction?
So
it
we
was-
didn't start doing video until the end of 2020. We decided we decided we were going to do video because I was a wedding photographer. I was a high school special education teacher for 5 years. Left that when I started a photography business, and so I already had all of the equipment. And my husband is a sound engineer, so
Oh, nice.
we were basically set up for success in a way.
Yeah.
But we obviously have known each other since the day she was born,
Mhm.
and we've always found ourselves in these conversations where we're like, we think we're funny. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
other people. I don't know.
Very funny.
But there was so much of myself that I just wanted to explore, and she wanted to get out of bed and
I
wanted
did,
a
and I
purpose
needed to.
outside of
Yeah.
being a mom and
Yeah.
working. But we were so self-conscious. And so we just started audio only. And I remember, I think it was in this first or second episode, we were like, would you guys ever want to see us? And then we were like, actually,
You
don't answer
wouldn't.
that
You
question.
shouldn't.
Never mind. And so at the end of 2020, we were getting like 200 downloads an episode. And it was a commitment that we had made to each other. Like we were never going to let the other one down. We'd let ourselves down every day.
100%.
Same.
Anytime I can, I'll let myself down.
Yeah,
But
I quit
I
on
will-
myself all the time, but I don't like to quit on her.
Yeah,
I'm like, I told Christy I'd do it. I better do it.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And so at the end of 2020, it was getting really, really difficult for us to keep going. And we said, all right, let's just start doing video. And
just give it one more last hurrah.
See if that
And I
takes
was
off.
really big into TikTok when 2020 happened. I was like, I felt like the old mom on TikToks. That was still back when it was a very Gen Z area.
Yes,
and I was like, but I don't know, maybe I like videos. And I remember telling her at one point, I was like, I feel like we could put things like this on TikTok. And the algorithm with TikTok works so much better than Facebook and Instagram to get to the people you want it to get to. And we just did it as like a funny, let's see what happens. And it kind of started taking off immediately.
If you like 60 seconds of what we're saying, then maybe you'll give 60 minutes of it a chance.
Right, yeah.
And because I have a lot of stories about me shitting myself at homecoming or pooping in a closet in my house because the people were working upstairs and I had a baby and couldn't leave. Or when someone asked me if I had a fire crotch at basketball. I think that was the video.
That was the video that went viral.
Basketball fire crotch.
It got millions of views, and I was like, okay.
And that's when, of course, you're like, of course it's that one.
Yeah, of course it's me shitting in an In-N-Out bag that's going to shoot a skyrocket at some face.
But I truly think, though, those are the stories that other people hear.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'm not the only one.
And most people don't talk about these things, but we are allowed to.
You know what?
I'm glad someone is.
I said, whatever you hate yourself for in the dark, I want to flip the light on and show you that there's 100 other people in the room with you.
Let me, just for a moment, if I may blow a little smoke up your ass, because I love what you do and I think it's great. But what you just said is so important as far as nonfiction creative content, where you're taking a very true, real personal story that really did happen to you. And I think it was like Ralph Waldo Emerson that described the greatest writers as speaking aloud man's whispers inside. And I think that's what great content does. And I think that's why a story like that, because anytime you tell a story like that, I have a giant Abraham Lincoln tattoo on my side.
Hell yeah.
And I was at the gyno and it was a male gynecologist and he was like, oh, I see Abe didn't trim his beard.
You're joking.
Regarding my pubic hair. And I was just forced to just like lay back on the thing because he saw my tattoo when he had walked in. It was like, oh, Abe tattoo. And then I was like, oh, I want to talk about my tattoos. And then he was like, speculum inserted and was like,
absolutely not.
No.
I'm in shock about that.
Yeah.
But
like you literally can't leave.
Right?
No,
I was like,
things shoved up your cooch.
He's like,
you
let me
cannot
just
walk.
I was like, well, just scrape what you got to scrape, I guess, and I'll go. But
this will be the last time I see you, sir.
Yeah.
Right. But
sure.
like, because we have this platform, we feel like we have the support of a best friend, somebody that loves us, that you feel like you can take these private indignations and say them publicly, knowing that you absolutely are not the only person that happened to.
Yes.
So that's beautiful.
I think people connect with vulnerability.
Absolutely.
We get emails, DMs all the time of like, even though that was like, 2018 that I told that story, even now people are like, I thought that I was the only person that shit my pants. And I was like, I promise you that everybody has.
At least
so many.
Literally everyone in the world has shit their pants.
I don't trust someone who otherwise haven't.
Yeah, no, they're lying.
You're a liar. Yeah. You're either a liar or you don't have a butthole. One of those two things.
Which, if you don't have a butthole, then that's separate. Then there you go.
That's a separate.
My godmother, she had like a bag and talking about smells for fun. She'd be like, "Hey, I have to tell you something. Come over here." And then she'd be like, and I was like, "Oh my god, yeah!" And she's like, "I gotta burp my bag, dude." I love her. Man. She was a bad bitch. Whatever. She was a redheaded bad bitch. I love her. Lillian, rest in peace. Rest in peace. She was funny. She's the first person.
Is that a thing you really have to do to a colostomy
Yeah,
bag?
you have to like let the air out.
Like
and
a
it's
baby.
Yeah, it was like a normal part of life and stuff. But she was funny. She was funny and had a little sense of humor.
Did it stink when you shit it?
Yeah.
So it was like a fart.
Yeah. It's like,
Wow. So you still have to fart even when you got a colostomy bag.
In a bag.
Yeah.
Sure.
Kind of nice that you can control it a little bit.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. In fact, No.
My husband looks at me so weird when we're at the grocery store and I just like am farting. I'm like, what's someone gonna do? Say something to me.
Say something to me.
I'm actually at the Safeway and a woman has been farting in aisle 6. Could you send an officer right away?
Yeah. Like
Sorry.
Do you want me to have a stomachache or do you want to
uncomfortable.
be embarrassed for 30 seconds? Yeah. I'm
No.
like, I'd rather just be embarrassed for 30 seconds, not have a tummy ache all day.
I
No.
don't have
Let
a
it out.
microphone up to my ass, so it's
No.
not like it's going to go over the
You're like,
loudspeaker.
Attention aisle 7.
You're supposed to be 6 feet from me anyway.
That's true.
My bubble.
That's on you.
If you can smell my fart, you are too close.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I always
Put
say.
that on the back of a t-shirt.
It's like a bumper sticker. If you can read this, if you can smell my ass, you're too close. Get away.
6 feet back.
What a number of tangents we've already been
I
on.
know.
This is a hoot. But it is Freaky Friday. So has any freaky tangents ever happened to you? Freaky stories involving shitting your pants or not?
Well, involving shitting ourselves.
I don't think I've had any scary
No, you don't have to.
I was like,
good on
do
that.
we?
I don't have
No,
any scary poop.
But we do have scary.
I
and
wanna
then-
hear it.
Oh, I can't wait to hear
Yeah.
it.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Mine involves children, which I think is also like one of the scariest things, ghosty children things. So,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Creepy
So-
children laughing and shit.
Okay, so for context, I've had paranormal things kind of happening to me for a long time. Like in my older house where my childhood home, I remember at one point I was walking down the hallway and my bedroom was like a walk-in closet. Basically, it was very small. So it could fit like literally my twin bed, my dresser, my TV was on top of that. And so when you immediately opened the door, you could see straight into the TV reflection. And I remember opening the door a crack. It was pitch black in my room and I see someone in the TV. I think it's my sister. So I opened the door to like scare her and nobody is sitting on my bed. But there was like a person
Like
hunched over. So I know. Okay, so once I moved out, I got pregnant young with my son Noah. I was 20 when I had him.
Which
so
I predicted, by the way.
she did, yes. She predicted both of my pregnancies. But that's another story. So I thought once I moved out that it had kind of left me. It wasn't following me. I didn't really have any kind of paranormal experiences at my house. And then we moved into an apartment once I split up with his dad. And Noah was probably around like 12 months to 18 months when we split up. And it was just the two of us in this apartment. And back then, this was 2013, I didn't have a lot of money. So the baby monitor I had was just the one that like, there was no video, you know what I mean? It was just, you could see the little things when it was lighting up. So I would turn it up then and
It's
be
like one of those things in a truck. When
yeah. Like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
Mom, bring me some milk.
Mom, I need my ass changed.
Seriously. And so like he was such a good sleeper, not like my daughter, but it's another story. I would put him in his crib and just let him kind of like talk himself to sleep. He would just play in his crib and then he would fall asleep. I was like, great. But I would turn on the thing just at like a lower level so that I could make sure that nothing was, because sometimes he would get his fucking arm stuck through the bars. Why do babies do that?
And their feet, and you're just, God.
Oh my God. And then he would scream and I'm like, get your head out of the crib.
You did that.
Yes.
You're gonna suffocate yourself.
Truly. So I see like big spikes on the thing saying like there's a lot of noise happening and it's late. So I turn it up and I can hear him giggling, like laughing to himself. And he's baby talking. And then he keeps saying, Debbie. And I was like, who the fuck is Debbie?
Get out of here, Debbie.
We don't know anybody named Debbie. I don't know where that, but like he's giggling and having baby talk with this Debbie. So I immediately turned it all the way down. I was like, that's not for me to hear. That's Debbie's business.
You didn't go in there. You're like, he sounds happy. So,
she sounds nice. So
he's
doing
not
a good
afraid.
job.
So he's fine. Maybe that's his imagination. I've never had a kid before.
Oh no. They each get a person that's invisible to visit them. That's fine. His is Debbie.
That's how it works. I don't know.
His imaginary night nurse Debbie.
You're like,
how hair?
Debbie, how much do you do? What all do you take care of? And how can I sleep? What's the deal on this?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I could have had a ghost taking care of him in the night, I would have been fine.
Her mic fell down and Debbie was like, bitch, knock the mic out of your hand.
That was so scary. Yes. Okay. So I'm thinking that's a one-time thing. I'll never hear about this again. No big deal. Okay. Around that time, I start to potty train him. And I actually have this part on video somewhere. It's in the cloud because it was like 4 phones ago. But
yes.
as he's potty training and he goes to the bathroom, I'm like, yay. Then he starts talking about Debbie again, like full on. Yeah. And he's like saying it as like, I want to show Debbie. Like, and I'm like, who, hey, who is Debbie? Because now I want to hurt myself, I guess. I need to know. Who is Debbie? Where is she here? And he was like, she's Debbie right there. Points to the ceiling where we're sitting. And I'm like,
I've heard this story so many times, and every time I'm like, Debbie, get out.
Get out, Debbie.
So I say, oh, okay, she's here. Well, what does Debbie want? And he says, home. And I was like, what does that mean? What is
Debbie wants us out.
Or she's at home and she just wants to live there. Maybe she lived there before.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
That was what we thought initially.
Yes. But he like described her, and the way he described her, I was like, you've never seen anybody that looks the way you're describing. It was very, very bizarre. And there were other things that happened. Like at one point we pulled up to our apartment complex. It was nighttime. I worked at Texas Roadhouse at the time, so I would get off super late.
Nice.
Yes. And so he's like half asleep, and he was like, I want to play with the little boy in the road. And it is pitch black. There's no one out there. And I was like,
nope.
I don't see anybody.
Noah can see things.
You're gonna have to ask Debbie.
It was
Debbie's she's trying to set up a play date with you.
Yeah. You're like, is that Debbie's son?
Debbie's like, I've been taking care of your son. So anyway, here's
like,
mine. I got ghost shit to do. I'm
Let's
gonna
swap
go.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, what did he say that Debbie looked like? And did he also describe the boy?
Well, so we saw a show before, and there was like an older black woman on the TV, and he kept pointing and saying that was Debbie. And I was like,
Okay.
I don't know where you would have, like, I don't understand the correlation.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a relative or somebody that he would
Like a
know.
neighbor, a teacher, or something like that. Yeah.
The area that we live in is
Not very diverse.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So it
Ohio.
wouldn't be
It was very
Like
small town Ohio.
Central Ohio.
Yeah.
northeast.
Northeast. Okay.
Yeah. So it was just like I don't know. But then we never heard about Debbie again, and I haven't asked him about it, and it's been
It's a don't ask, don't tell situation.
yes,
Wow.
except that now I have a daughter. Okay, so my daughter, I had her 10 years after my son, and she at this point is in 20 months. Okay, and recently, in front of Jeri, even she said Debbie, and we were both like, "What did you just fucking say?" Like it was so bizarre.
And they live in a new build now.
Yeah.
She's moved.
Yes. But this
So
was
did
part
Debbie.
I didn't even tell Jeri this because it just happened, and I wanted to save it for this moment. The other day, it's nighttime, okay, and we have like a big mirror going into our bedroom, and I have Sawyer, my daughter, on my hip, and I'm walking to the bedroom, and normally she'll see herself in the mirror and she wants to like wave. We go past the mirror and she turns around, arms out, and goes, Debbie!
Don't go in the mirror.
Oh no!
Somebody come get Debbie.
I know.
You need to call
Absolutely
Susan.
not. Absolutely not.
Somebody come get her. She's doing something sinister.
Wow.
That's our new theme song, by the way.
That's really good.
Can Sawyer and Noah communicate enough to like compare notes about Debbie?
Well, that's the creepy thing. So Noah at this point is 11, and I have asked him, and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Really?
I
So
don't
he
know.
doesn't remember even doing
Nothing.
that.
Nope. He's heard
Wow.
stories, but
What
other
if
than
Debbie
that,
was on your bed?
She's been with you since you were a child.
That's what I'm wondering.
Maybe you're the conduit.
You were Debbie the whole time.
Debbie's yours.
honestly, yeah. Well, the thing is too, I'm like, in my head, I'm wondering if she saw something in the mirror like behind us, or like
Yeah.
I don't want to think
Sure.
that that's it. or maybe she saw me holding her, and like maybe Debbie's like an ancestor. Maybe it's
Oh my god! What if it's like that
And it-
one movie where the it's like a ghost in there? It's like the pictures. Do you remember
Insidious.
this movie? No, because she's sitting on his shoulders at one point. He thinks he gets rid of the.
I thought it was Insidious at the
that
end.
does sound
Is
like
it?
Insidious.
Spoiler
actually.
alert. Who's
Yeah.
the guy?
I don't remember Insidious.
It's my husband would know, but I thought it was the guy that plays. Oh God damn! I'm sounding like my mother. The guy that plays Ed and Lorraine Warren, Patrick something or another.
Oh, yeah.
That guy, isn't it him? And they take his picture, and then they
Yes.
thought it was him. He was astral projecting. I think that's Insidious.
Yes, it is Insidious.
But yeah, that's fucked up. Some shit's like hiding over your shoulder. I don't like
Yes,
that.
it's So, anyways, that's my creepy kid story that I have.
Have you ever considered leaning into this?
I would love to. I'm so afraid because our sisters had like a moment with a Ouija board incident that I think opened something really scary for the both of them that has followed them. Like my sister has had some ghost things happen that were like scary ghosts. So like, yeah. And your sister as well, correct? Has had like evil things.
Yes.
So I'm so afraid.
And they were, y'all's sisters were the ones that did the Ouija board together?
Yes. Our sisters are also very close in age. So they've been best friends since they were little.
I love that y'all like are best friends with your cousins.
Yep.
I have cousins, but we didn't grow up together. And Tommy grew up with one of his, and they were like best friends growing up. And I think that's such
I was always jealous.
Special relationship.
Yeah,
I was always jealous too.
Yeah. I didn't know that it wasn't
normal. Yeah. My cousins are like my fam, like my siblings.
Like we are family. We share DNA.
Yeah, I mean you are blood relatives.
So my nieces are now growing up like that. They're cousins together, and they call each other sissy, and they're best friends, and they chase each other around. And I love to see y'all like as you see. I know that throughout the rest of their life, they're gonna grow up and be besties, and then have to tell.
And they're not even blood related, and they
they're best friends.
Like
I love that.
But yeah, man, Debbie's not. She ain't backing down.
I know. But eventually, I would like to have something, either like a reading or somebody trying to explain to me what's going on. Because I thought it was kind of a fluke, maybe. My son, it was like an imaginary friend situation. And now that it's also with my daughter, I'm like, that's so weird. And Debbie is such a specific name too, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like,
one you don't hear often either.
I don't know anyone named Debbie.
Yeah, I can't think. I know one person named Debbie.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
not
her.
anybody.
She's
related
also
to.
alive.
I even
so
tried to
not.
think of names that sound like
Me
Debbie,
too.
like because like kids will say what, like a kid tries to say truck and says fuck, like something like that.
Kitty, man, I had a friend's kid was called Kitty's Titties, and be like, I love titties. Titties are great. Titties, titties love milk. I was like, yeah, they do.
They do.
There's titties all at the PetSmart. I was like,
gosh, my husband was getting ready to mow, and he put on like really, really high socks, and my son ran in and he goes, "Daddy has such big cocks."
You're like,
I was like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, multiple.
I was just listening, Jeri, to that episode. Was it you were talking about your therapist saying put it in the box?
Yep.
I got so tickled. Instead of like, don't fight about it now, just put it in the box. It was like, I'll put it in your box. To have your therapist being like very serious, being like, why don't you put it in her box? Or you can put it in his box.
She's like, don't put that in my box.
Don't put anything in my box.
I don't want anything in my box right now.
Please no.
We're in therapy.
Oh my goodness. Well,
wow. We have friends over at Creeps and Crimes that swear by a medium they use named Susan.
Taylor Morgan can hook you up.
Readings like over the phone or Zoom and stuff. So
we're actually talking with that. What's really weird is something just happened over here.
That was really weird.
That.
Yeah.
I don't even know what just moved, but something just moved over here. But also we're actually meeting with
them
next week.
Doing a collab with them next week.
Perfect.
Well, let them know
about Susan.
Let them know you need Susan's information. Because we've had some listeners who, when we did a crossover, Susan was like, they reached out separately and said, oh, she was great. And she told me all this great stuff. So highly recommended.
Susan is
also, they're so much fun to talk to.
Oh,
you're going to love them.
Oh, I can't wait. We already, just from like DMing, I'm like, you seem like our people.
We first contacted one another a year ago. And both of us, when we came back to it, we were like, "Oh my god, that was a year!" Like,
I am so sorry.
Like a week sorry about that.
I love it.
Like, tangents don't just apply on camera. We also have ADHD
it's off. Yeah, same. So, so Jeri, have you had any encounters? Not with Debbie, but
yeah. I've also been haunted, I guess, my whole life. Like, I remember being in my childhood bedroom and I would hear someone walking all the time up the stairs, through the hallway. My sisters and I have all seen the same woman in my parents' bedroom. There was a woman in a white gown just standing in front of my mom's mirror. Like, we all saw this person. There was just random things that happen in that house all the time. So I've always kind of been in tune, and I was raised Catholic, so I was like, of course there's now I just need to figure out the intention behind whatever I'm seeing.
Well, it's clearly a demon and I need Jesus to help me get rid of it.
I was so terrified of even saying the word demon because I thought it would call upon something.
Them.
But I'm really growing. I'm really healing, and I can say it now.
Congrats on your progress.
No. But there was one time where I was really, really scared that I was like, something was trying to possess me. Shit. I was in college. My husband and I dated long distance for like 2.5 years. He was in Florida and I was here. And so we used to fall asleep on FaceTime. And so we would Skype, and I fall asleep just anywhere, anytime, anyway.
Nice.
And
Truly.
I fell asleep on Skype. I knew this. And I had a horrible dream. And in this dream, I had like sleep paralysis. And I have had sleep paralysis several times, and they're always terrifying. Always terrifying. This time specifically, I remember opening my eyes and seeing myself on Skype.
Oh.
But the version of me that was on Skype wasn't me. Like, I was laying down, and the version of me that I was seeing in the video was just inching closer and closer to the screen. And do you remember that horror movie Smile?
Yeah.
That was the smile that my face had. And the movement that this face had was like moving really slow.
Like that
jerky
demon move.
And
yeah.
I just kept screaming like in my head because I couldn't move that I needed help. And when I finally was able to wake up and move, my computer was closed.
Shit, dude.
I do not remember closing it. I was like shocked that it was closed because I remembered having this dream thinking like, what closed my computer? And so I was speaking to my now husband, and he goes, you just sat up and then closed it. Just like you didn't say anything. You just sat up.
Like you're like,
and closed it. Yeah.
So he's like, well, good night, babe.
Yeah.
I guess sweet dreams.
I guess bye.
So I was like, am I possessed, or is like something trying to possess me? Like, and the sister that she had mentioned who did mess with the Ouija board was living with me at the time. And at the exact same time, the shelf in my room and the shelf in her room, which was right below mine, fell at the exact same time and made a huge, like, loud crashing sound. Yeah.
Oh,
and so everyone was like, what the hell was that?
This was after you woke up from your nightmare Zoom.
This was around the same time. There was like a lot happening. My life, whenever I was in college, was really tumultuous. Like, I was in an abusive relationship. My mom had been diagnosed with cancer, and there was just so many things that were happening that I think I made myself susceptible to spirit. And there was another time. It didn't happen for a long time, and then it happened again after I had my son. And I was laying in our current home. I was sleeping, and I heard footsteps. And I thought, oh, my husband just forgot something and he's coming back. You know those memes where it's like Sleeping Beauty, like my husband before he leaves for work, and she's like, that's me. So I thought, oh, he just left something. He's coming back. And I opened my eyes, and there is a woman standing in the door of my bedroom. And she's old. She's an old woman. And she smiles at me, and my son is crying. I can hear my son crying in the other room. And she just turns and she walks to him. And then I can see her on the baby monitor, and she's like reaching in the crib for him. And I am like freaking out because I can't move. And I'm watching this person go for my son. And I just had to tell myself like to close my eyes and
wake up
when I opened them again, that it would all be over.
Wow.
And it was eventually, but
when you're in those moments, it feels like it's like hours, even though it's maybe a minute or two that you're stuck like that. But
it's real. It feels so real.
Oh, it's horrifying.
And I don't
see
understand
something on the baby monitor. No,
I don't understand why those, because it feels like it's connected to the technology too, because the other time that I experienced it was over Skype. And I know that like it's easier to have sleep paralysis when you're stressed, but I've not experienced fear like that awake. And I will say that day after that happened, Ciara came over to the house because we were doing podcasting stuff. She thought I was standing in the breezeway.
Yeah.
And she thought it was weird that I was waiting for her out in the breezeway. And then she came in and it wasn't me. It was...
She's like, who's that bitch out on your breezeway?
It literally looked like someone in all white. And I was thinking like...
So it's the woman from your childhood, your parents' bedroom.
When did your sisters curse you with this Ouija board exactly? What year exactly?
Let's just call it what
Honestly,
it is.
we need to have a talk
for this. Yeah, I think your sisters are
What
to
year
blame
was
for
this that it started? And then... because
you are like the paranormal activity lady.
Yeah.
But both of you.
I know.
And your sisters. The whole family.
I have something to say about that.
Whenever we were talking about doing podcasting things, I was like, honestly, as fascinated as I am by like spooky paranormal, I feel like we can't because I don't want to open that.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
It's too close to home.
Yeah.
Well, I had a friend pass when we were in second grade. She had cerebral palsy, but she choked at a sleepover and then she passed.
God.
Horrible. And I've always felt really close with her. And even as I grew up, like I always felt her around. And she was one of the reasons that I went into special education. When I was in college, before I moved into the house, I was living in the dorms. And a guy walked into the lounge that my friends and I were hanging out at. And he's like, hey, my name's Reggie. I'm actually a medium. Just wanted to come introduce myself. And I'm like, hey, Reggie, can I tell you about some things real quick? Because right before that, I had a phone. It was like one of those LG chocolates. And the screen just like took a shit. It went completely black. I couldn't see it. The only way I knew I was talking to someone is because I did have T9 still on it. And so I was pressing all the buttons. And I'm like, I hope this is saying what I think it's saying. So my mom brought me a new phone. I put that old phone in a drawer. 2 weeks go by. I can't see the screen. So I don't know if it's on or not. But either way, 2 weeks is enough time for it to die if it wasn't already turned off. And I am going to enter my dorm room and I hear this vibrating. And I'm like, what is that? Is somebody getting a phone call? And I open my door and my phone is vibrating like I'm getting a phone call in the drawer. Someone was with me for this, which like, I don't know why I always have to preface it with like, there's other people we saw.
We believe you individually, but it does bolsters your argument.
Yes.
For sure.
To have someone corroborate your story makes you feel validated too.
Because I felt nuts with all this stuff happening in childhood. People just being like, oh, kids tell stories. And I'm like, well, I'm a full ass adult now. So I mean, what's this about?
And the story hasn't changed.
Not at all.
I had one of those iHomes as well. That you could like put your iPod on and it would be an alarm clock and a speaker. Well, I had one, wasn't plugged in, didn't have batteries in it, and it started going off like I had set an alarm on it.
Like the kind of alarm?
Yes.
Damn.
So, and again, people were in the room for this to happen. So like this spirit did not give a shit who heard it or whatever.
They wanted to be known.
And technology, more technology, the phone and the iPhone.
Damn. So Reggie tells me that there are two women around me, which I automatically think that it's both of my grandmas because our grandma's passed and so is my other one. And so he says, your grandma's messing with the technology.
She's like, what does this do?
She's trying to get your attention because you're about to do something that is bad for you and you need to knock it off. Aww. Right around that time, I was getting ready to leave college, move in with my boyfriend at the time, who was not
a good person.
I was going to like drop out of my teaching thing. Wow. So I was like, uh-oh, grandma's mad at me. You don't want to. That was not good business. And so the other one, I was like, oh, that must be my other grandma. And he goes, no, I'm seeing chocolate. I'm seeing gummy bears. I'm seeing popcorn. And I don't ever say names, but she says you'll know Emily. And I started crying and I walked out of the room.
That was the girl's name, your friend?
And that was my friend who passed.
Oh, that's incredible.
The boyfriend that I had at the time didn't even know about her. There's no way this guy would have known about
like in college, you don't go around talking about it a lot in college.
No, it wasn't something she put on social media ever.
No, because I didn't even have social media until I was in college.
Yeah.
And Emily's a pretty, like Debbie, it's not a name everybody has. So to say that is pretty, it's a niche
He
name.
wasn't like, it's Ashley, Sarah,
or,
you know, kind of
like
something that's a little bit more.
Elizabeth. Wow.
And just new
Emily
and chocolate and gummy
my
bears.
grandma. Whenever I visit my grandma, I visit Emily because their graves are next to each other.
Wow.
I bet they know each other. I always, when I go visit my dad's grave, like I'll pass by and this other family next to like the plot has a bench and it's like, it's their memorial bench, but you can sit there. And I'm always like, hello, Lewiston family. Thank you so much for your bench. I hope you guys have been hanging out and getting along. I hope you have a lot in common. Because there's a novel called Lincoln in the Bardo that's by George Saunders. And it's about these spirits in a cemetery that are friends with each other, and it always just got in my head that I'm like, it's like a neighborhood. You're probably just like,
a little suburb. It's like a gated community.
Neighborhood.
Oh yeah, what if your grandma was like, oh, Jerry's about to do something, and Emily's like, I'll go, I'll help. Let's go. What do you want me to do?
What it was, because there was a third person. He said the more I talk about this, the more I remember. So sorry that you're just getting this whole thing, but
I want to hear it.
He said there's a guy around you, and he took his own life. And he is around almost kind of like a spirit guide for you. He goes, he's related to you, but he's not related to you. And
distant relative.
Yeah. And he said that he made a rash decision, and obviously he couldn't take it back.
Yeah.
And he comes around when you are about to do something that is going to alter your life. And he said, it's like Ryan or Richard, and he goes, it just starts with an R. That's all I know. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about, but thank you so much. And he's like, whatever. Yeah. So I'm telling my mom this story because it was her mom that was, calling my cell phone in the drawer. And
did you pick the cell phone up when it was vibrating?
Yes.
Did anything happen?
Bold.
It continued to vibrate. I took the battery out of it because I wanted to
You didn't answer it?
No.
Oh, damn.
At that point, I'm like, it's haunted. It's whatever. I don't want to deal with this. Right. So I tell my mom this story. I was like, yeah, there was grandma and there was Emily. And then he did say something about a guy who took his own life. It starts with an R or something. I don't know what that's about. And she got really quiet. And she said, my cousin Robbie had an affair and was afraid that his family wouldn't forgive him. And he took his own life. Wow. So I didn't know that had happened. But apparently he is around.
He's like still taking care of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's sweet.
Did you end up leaving college or did you heed these warnings?
I stayed and I listened because at that point in time, Reggie was like, I want to talk to you more. And I was like, Reggie.
Yeah.
Come on, wait a minute.
He's like,
he was like trying to practice.
Okay.
And like strengthen his
hone his abilities.
Yeah. It's like ab workouts.
Yes, you gotta practice it.
You gotta strengthen your core.
You lose
spiritual core. Yeah.
You know?
Spiritual core. So he was like, don't tell me where your room is.
I'm gonna
try and find it. And I said, he goes, I'm just gonna try and find your energy. And I was like, well, my name is on the door. So that feels like cheating a little bit. He goes, I'm gonna close my eyes. Please don't let me run into anything.
I'm just gonna feel my way around this door.
That's exactly what he did.
And then you have to explain to the RA who's like, Jerry, what's that guy doing
with his eyes closed?
With his arms out. He's got his arms out and his hands out. And he's walking down the college like, I gotta get stronger. I need to get
I'm just doing my spiritual workout. Luckily the RA was my best friend, and so like
and you're like, oh, you're looking for Jerry's room? Yeah, I bet you are.
All the weird shit goes
that makes
down
sense. That woman in white and that little girl. Yeah. Everyone's looking for Jerry's room.
Well, he closes his eyes. He walks down the hall, and I'm not a skeptic. But at this point, I'm almost like trying to catch him, even though he's already way proved himself to me. He passes my room, and I'm like, idiot. And then he stops and he takes 2 or 3 steps backwards and slams his hand on the door. And he said, is this your room? And I said, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we open it, and he steps into the room, and he steps on my rug, and he steps off, and he steps on my rug, and he steps off, and he points and he goes, she plays right here. So my straightener would turn on and off. My makeup would look like it was being digged in.
I just heard that.
Dude, what
was that?
I don't know. Something over there just again fell. Emily?
Like from the ceiling.
I don't
Emily wants to
normally
join.
get spooked because I am a bit of a
She's super
skeptic.
skeptic.
Although something happened to me last night that I'll tell everyone later. Heather doesn't even know this, but I just got goosebumps.
I got goosebumps too when I heard that sound because you were saying she played.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm still playing. Boop,
He
knock
was
it
playing
down.
my makeup, and then he goes, "Do you ever hear your name when you're sitting here?" And I said, "Yeah, but I mean, it's a dorm, and Jeri sounds like a lot of things." And
Yeah,
he
Jeri,
goes,
Larry, Mary, Sharon.
she jibber jabbers here. She just sits and talks and plays. And he started again. He didn't know anything about her. He just knew that he got her name right, and he started running his hand along the wall. He's like, "Do you hear this?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "She is using the wall to walk, which if she didn't have her crutch, that's what she would do is she would use the wall to help her walk." And he goes, "But I want you to know that she can walk now and she doesn't need it, but she knows that that's how you'll recognize
Oh
her.
my gosh.
And she is with you all the time." And I
just
felt
heard another
her.
noise.
I heard a sound go off.
You did?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
Like a chime. It went like dee, dee,
Oh,
dee, dee.
a chime?
Or
Yeah.
like a
It
door
sounded-
opening, maybe alarm.
Some sound of electronic sound.
Yeah, I heard an electronic sound.
Maybe Nana's calling.
Oh my God.
Sorry, we cursed y'all. Having y'all on this
No,
show.
I think just talking. I haven't talked about this in a
I'm
very
sure it gives
long
it a little
time.
energy.
It brings the energy back
Yeah,
up.
yeah. And
But what
so-
a sweet person to be with you.
I know.
I know. Have you ever told her mom all of this?
I haven't, and I'm really
It's hard.
scared to because
Mm,
her parents, I don't believe, are together anymore because obviously, like
Yeah,
after
that's
something
a
like
lot to
that
go through.
happens, that
That's
is a
the toll.
lot.
yeah.
And I don't know if her mom knew if we were as close as we were, and so part of me
Mhm.
feels like I don't know if it would be welcome or not, and
Mhm.
that's just a scary thing to like assume that it would be received
Yeah.
well. And so like,
Yeah.
I would love to because I have so many beautiful, wonderful stories with her, and I feel like she has been a part of a lot of my journey because I did stay in school and I met my husband that year. He lived on the same floor, just a couple doors down from Reggie. So
See, they all
and
knew.
he left. He went to Florida right after that. So yeah.
That's amazing. Had you not stayed, you wouldn't have met him.
wouldn't have met
Yeah.
him.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have been a teacher.
I wonder
and all
if,
that.
well, I mean, obviously anybody can listen to a show, so she could hear it, but I also wonder if she has similar experiences, or
Oh yeah.
maybe you could try and ask Emily, like, would you want me to tell your mom about this?
Mhm.
And then
Susan
maybe
can help
she
you with
has a
Yes.
yeah, maybe like she has a message that's like,
Yeah.
can you tell my mom blah blah blah?
Yeah,
Or
maybe.
something. But
You're right, though, it's
that
hard to
is
navigate.
heart wrenching. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we all have kids, so or Heather has nieces. Like, if anybody came to me and was like, after something like that, that would be really hard to hear.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
especially you don't know people's like religious backgrounds if they
Yeah.
would be super offended by it or whatever.
Well, and we met in church. That was
Yeah.
how our friendship happened. Is her and I
Mm.
were in the same Sunday school together, and so we would like walk past each other when we were going to get communion, and we'd be like, "What's up?" Like I have,
What's up, Pelican?
I have my mom gave me a book full of like photos of me growing up, and one of them was of me and her at like first communion, and so like
Oh.
I know that her mom probably still believes because whenever I go and visit her grave, she's got like gum on it because she would get a lot of dry mouth. And so the gum would keep her saliva going. And so like they still do those little things for
Yeah.
her. And so
You
I
never
believe
forget.
that they would think so. But again, I don't know. I feel like I'd be coming
Yeah.
out of the woodwork.
Yeah, you don't want to be like, by
Yeah.
the way. But it is
Yeah.
for them out there. Hopefully, they do know that she made a huge impact, and
Oh,
even though
yeah.
she was lost at a young age, she changed your life. She
Yeah.
changed the trajectory of your life. Certainly.
100%.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
beautiful.
That's beautiful. And for someone so young to know that they left like such an impact, because
Some
when
legacy.
people are taken so young, yeah, you worry that like, well, they had their whole life, but she's still making such positive impacts from
Mhm.
beyond the grave.
Playing with
beautiful.
whatever toys are over there right
Yeah,
now.
I
apparently.
like it. It sounds like she's gonna get in the studio and start
Debbie.
playing with some stuff.
Emily.
Yeah.
Debbie, Emily, do they sound similar?
Debbie, Emily.
The Beverly.
Although
Debbie.
Emily is not a grown Black woman, so perhaps
No.
Oh, that's true.
they're
Description-wise, yeah,
different,
that might be
but-
different.
And who knows? Honestly, he could have just been saying Debbie as like maybe it wasn't that character. Maybe it was a different character, and he just he was lagging on what he told me because he
was
just
just
pointed to like the TV show at the
That.
end. I was like, that must be
All
what
right.
you're talking
Wow.
about. So he was also
That's
two.
wild.
So
Yeah. Oh.
But they say children are closer to the veil because we don't.
honestly,
We're not jaded yet.
Yes.
Any of those kids'
Wow.
stories of like, mommy, I saw a person. It's like, okay, well.
Well, that happened with my son too.
No.
So again, here's another dream. Here's me telling you 1,000 stories. But
No,
I had a dream where I had 2 miscarriages before I had my sons. And in this dream, I was breastfeeding 2 babies. I was in my childhood bedroom and I was breastfeeding 2 babies. And I looked up to talk to someone. And then when I looked back down, they were 2 puppies, which sounds, I don't know why that happened.
It's dream logic.
But I
Yeah.
started crying and throwing all the blankets off of the bed because I'm like, where are my babies? Where are my babies? And I look up and there's a little blonde haired boy standing in the doorway. And I thought that's Jonah, which was my son that we lost. He had Down syndrome. He didn't make it past 16 weeks. And so I thought that's Jonah and he must be doing fine. And then I looked at my son, Ollie, and I'm like, oh my God, it was you. Like I saw you in my dream before I had you. Almost like I lost my 2 babies, but this one is coming.
He's on
waiting
the
for
way.
you.
Yeah.
And my son, after I had Forrest, my youngest, he called me in his room and he said, Bubba's on the ceiling. Bubba's on the ceiling. And that's what he called his brother.
goodness.
He's like, Bubba's crawling on the ceiling. And I thought, oh, that's not of my business. And then I closed the door, but I thought,
You're like,
kind
he'll be
of
fine.
what in
He'll
the
be
train spotting is happening in here.
it's definitely not Forrest. He's in his crib.
For
However,
sure not on the ceiling.
I wonder if he was seeing
Someone that
Jonah,
looked
like my
yeah.
other
Yeah.
A
our other
baby.
son. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just a baby and calling him Bubba. We call my Simon, our youngest, Bubba
Yeah.
too. A lot.
Yeah. That's how Forrest
Oh,
introduces
wow.
himself now. He goes, I'm Bubba Forrest.
Well, they also call Simon Buddy.
Yeah.
And Christy Wallace, her husband's Brown. So the kid's last name is Wallace Brown. I'm like, Buddy Wallace Brown. I was like, that's a hell of a name.
He has to be a county
Buddy.
judge. If he's not, then what
Yeah.
is he even doing with his
We're
life?
like, he's old county judge. He's fair. He's tough, but he's fair. Buddy Wallace Brown. Put her there. I was like, his life is just.
It's yeah.
I love
Perfect.
when
man.
your
It's gonna be
country
perfect.
accent gets different.
Oh
It's
yeah,
really good.
yeah.
Gets turned up a little bit.
It gets turned
Well,
up. And we also call him BB for baby brother. And I'll be like, what's your name? And he's like, BB. I'm like, man, at some point he's going to say Simon. He's going to know who he really is.
Eventually.
Until
I'm
the
giving him
day.
an identity crisis with all these nicknames.
What is
Yeah.
my name? But
Yeah, I've had several mediums tell me that Ella has gifts.
Mhm.
And we say she's like Wednesday Addams and Stewie Griffin combined. So she's got some
combo.
stuff going on.
Good combo.
When I was buying a house, Ella was like 6 months old. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, no, she was right at a year old because she was crawling and stuff. And I was like, hey, I'm going to look at houses. Will you meet me? And she's like, yeah, I've got Ella with me. I'm like, totally. It's great. Plus the women at the witch store was like, she's very powerful. So I was like, bring her along. You never know.
Yeah.
And one of the houses, it was an okay house. And Christy walked with Ella holding her to the back of the house. And Ella started screaming. And then they like walked back to the front and she stopped. And I was like, and then I walked back there and I was like, this feels oppressive and weird. So if Ella didn't like the house, I'd be like, I'm not interested. And then my real estate agent's like,
She was like
the
our-
baby
yeah,
decides.
our litmus
And this house,
test.
she crawled. She loved it. She crawled right down the hallway. She crawled into this room, which is now the studio. She crawled like into my office room and was having like a grand old time. And I was like, I'll take it. So that's how I bought my house. Was a 1-year-old baby told me that this is the non
sending a
Oh,
canary
she is
into the
powerful.
mines. We
There's
send
no flaw
Ella
in that logic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she interprets what Simon is saying all the time. He can talk, but he'll say stuff, and I'll be like, "What?" And she's like, "He wants a bowl of ice cream." And I'm like, "Oh God!"
So like,
And I'm
oh,
like,
okay.
"Simon, do you want a bowl of ice cream?" Okay. I'm like, "What?"
You're like, did he really want a bowl of ice cream, or does everyone always want a bowl of
Yeah,
ice
like
cream?
what
Did
is
you ask
happening?
the big
question.
Who really wants the ice cream here? But yeah, she.
That's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I love that you're a
Kids are
skeptic
fun.
and you birthed a powerful
That's good. That's good.
But
stuff.
also, I'm like a skeptic, but I also am not a skeptic. Like, I think something's going on in my current house. We moved about 6 months ago.
Did you not
or
consult Ella?
No, she was there. She's fine with it, but
she's a little older now though, so maybe the veil is
I don't know. But yeah, weird things have started to happen. So, and last night there was a weird incident where I was cleaning up colored pencils on the table, and I saw a green pencil like to the left of the table, and then the next thing I knew, it was in the box. And I hadn't put it there.
Like someone was helping you clean up.
Or it was weird. And so I went and woke up my husband, and he was just like,
you did wake up, Tommy?
He was reading.
Did you move this green pencil?
You're like, I need your help.
When he's reading on his Kindle, if you disturb him, he has to like start his whole process over of falling asleep. So I was like, something just happened. He's like, what are you even talking about? And I was like trying to explain it. I was like, I don't even know what I'm saying. And then, so I just was like, I guess I'll just go finish cleaning up. And then I just went back out there.
If you have a spirit and it wants to help clean,
I'm fine with that.
Leave it.
Yeah.
Leave it in the house.
Like to,
when they're like, we have to go in and clean this house of spirits. Unless the spirit cleans, then let it ride. Just let her stay.
And you are welcome.
We just want to clean up dirty spirits. The clean spirits can clean.
Exactly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what I'm saying. Oh my gosh. We've had so much fun talking to you today.
Yes.
We could talk to you for another hour, 2 hours, 5 hours. So anytime, the invitation stands. If you don't want to talk about creepy stuff on your show, you a welcome invitation to come talk to us about it anytime.
Or anything, really.
Or anything. Because we love what you cover on your show, because it can be your road show is like scandals, but then the one I was listening to is like the distraction theory. So it's just anything that you want. Yeah. So for folks who want to get on some tangents with some ladies, where can they find y'all?
Well, they can find us at the corner of
we're just happy and healthy.
Yeah, we're just Ladies and Tangents everywhere.
Ladies and Tangents on Instagram, on TikTok, on Patreon. Are we Ladies and Tangents there?
Probably.
Yes.
Probably.
We'll link you in the show notes.
And then we are
we'll
on pretty much any audio streaming platform and YouTube. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes.
Well,
and
this will be
TikToks are great. Go follow them immediately.
Yeah, if you like 60 seconds of us, maybe you'll like 60 minutes.
You pop up on my FYP all the time. I also follow you. But
love it.
You're great. Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Y'all
Thanks
are
for
so
being
much
with us.
fun. We're gonna add you immediately to the Coven.
Yes, and we gotta have our Dollywood. We gotta get with Taylor and Morgan from Creeps and Crimes, because they're there near Dollywood and they're gonna spearhead our event. So we gotta call Dollywood up and make
we're all going to Dollywood, and y'all
gotta call the agents. We gotta make it Dollywood.
Everybody's going to Dollywood.
I love it. Goes to Dollywood.
Listen, all the moms on TikTok went and like all the mom influencers, I don't know if that's what they call them, went on some kind of a fun time. Well, it's our turn now.
Yeah, we were like, I want to do something like that.
Yeah. And you're talking with them next week, so
we'll hook it up.
There we go.
Yes.
We're all in it. We're all in it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Like we said, if you're all in Ohio, so Detroit or
Columbus or Pittsburgh.
Well, y'all I don't know where things are. I just show up on the plane and they tell me where to go. I never know where I'm going.
Honestly, because Tommy drives us on tour, the times that I'll be like, hey Siri, what city am I in? And it's like, you are in Ogden, Utah, or whatever. I'm like, thank you, because I don't know.
We don't ever know.
But we will be in Columbus and then right after in Pittsburgh. So if you're in either of those cities or would like to be, we'd love to have you to the show.
Yes,
and but until then, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for
Jeri
talking with us.
Thank you so
much
for
having us.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you.